Hello YouTube. So we're back in the Scion. Hold on. And we're working on part 2 of the oil burning. So in the last part, if you watched the first part with the Marvel Mystery Oil, it was burning about a little. It slowed it down a little bit. I'll give Marvel Mystery Oil that. It slowed it down a little bit. I did end up running it longer than I thought I would. I let it burn almost 3/4, I think. And then I ended up using the rest of the Marvel Mystery Oil I had. I just dumped it in there. But we are currently sitting at 168,668. We are driving 6 miles to the dealership. Now, I really don't have the time. I need to work on a bunch of stuff. I was going to do the oil change myself, but we're not going to because I don't have the time. So I'm going to go do an oil change at the dealership instead of my laptop. But for today's oil change, what I'm going to do is I have the Berryman's, and don't mind the mess in the back, that's all my work snacks. We have the Berryman's B-12 chemtool injector cleaner, part number 0116. We have a Mobile One Extended Performance M1 103A oil filter for the Scion. And today I went ahead and grabbed good oil. I wanted to grab the Pennzoil Ultra Platinum Full Synthetic. They didn't have it. And they didn't have the high mileage version of this, so I just grabbed the regular one, which should still be fine, which is the Platinum Full Synthetic 5W30, the pretty gallon that's yellow, made from natural gas instead of crude oil. I was torn between this and Royal Purple. The Royal Purple was about $37. This was about $25. But I just wanted to. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos. They're both good, but I just wanted to see what would happen. I ran Pennzoil Full Synthetic Platinum. I've run it before. I was actually running this oil or the Ultra Platinum before for my oil changes, but I stopped in the last 3 oil changes when it started to hint at the oil burning. It started the oil burning. I just started running just regular. I think it was like Valvoline or some shit like that. Oil. Now we are. So the last oil change was at 166,692. We are at 168,670. So we are a little over 2,000 miles. That's all since the last oil change. So the oil should still be good. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour this. So on their website it says, on the bottle it doesn't say it, but on the website it says you can pour it in the crankcase, 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces per quart of oil. And let it run at idle before you do the oil change, immediately before you do the oil change. So do not put this in your oil and then drive on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up to the dealership. I already called them and scheduled, and everything's fine. I'm going to go to their parking lot, dump. This is a 4.5 quart car. I'm going to pour. This is a 15-ounce bottle. I'm going to pour about half the bottle in the crankcase. I'm gonna save the other half for the Jeep, but I'm gonna pour half the bottle in the crankcase, let it idle for about 10 minutes in their parking lot, and then I'm gonna pull it in. But what I'm gonna do is, before I pour it in, I'm gonna take, if I have a napkin, I do have a white napkin. Shout out to Zupas. I'm going to, wipe the dipstick at the color it is on the napkin. Put it back in, run it 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna pull the dipstick out, and I just want to see if it's gonna get any darker in those 15 minutes. With just the car idling, just to see if it changes the color of the oil, because that would be nice. If it darkened it, that means it's doing something. But you're supposed to let it run for a little bit and then immediately do an oil change. Don't drive on it. They don't want the RPMs high, which is all fine. And then I'm gonna do the oil change with the Platinum Full Synthetic, clear the trip computer, and we're gonna go from there. Yeah, and we'll see what happens. Now I know I technically should be running the same oil just to see if just make sure the Pennzoil doesn't have any say in it burning more or less, but I just don't have time, honestly. I actually want to drive the car further than where I'm doing it right now, but between all the little car issues I'm having with all the different cars that need a little bit of work and love, I'm just gonna run this. Now, if this and the Pennzoil and the Berrymans don't slow it down as much as I want, then we're gonna do the Berryman's piston soak, which again, I'm so busy, I just don't really have time for it. But you know, if I have to make time, I will make time. I don't really want to. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible for people that don't have the tools or the know-how or don't want to start pulling spark plugs out or any of that stuff. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible, just to see. My goal in all of this is to slow it down. If I can get a quart every 3,000 miles, I'll be happy. On the forums, people said a quart between oil changes is okay. If I can get it down to a quart between oil changes instead of a quart every 1,000 miles, I will be happy. So we're 4 minutes away. I'm gonna stop at a Starbucks, get a drink, and we're gonna go from there. I'll check back in a couple minutes, guys. Okay, we're back. It's been 10 minutes. Car sounds the same. I'm gonna pull the dipstick just to see the color change. I'm gonna wipe it with this one first. I'm not looking for the leveling. I'm still not looking for level. I'm only looking for color. Okay, it's gonna win. We'll go back in the car. So immediately when I pulled it out, I noticed that it did look darker, a little bit darker. So this is the original, and then these two spots, when you close it, these two spots are the after, and they are darker. And I mean, it noticeably looked to me like it was darker. But just sitting here idling for 10 minutes, it did get darker. And see over here, you have a bigger pool because it basically closed on itself over here. So you have two edges over here. But yeah, noticeably darker. I hope it's focusing. Like, I'm looking from here and I can notice it, so I hope you guys can notice that too. But we're gonna drive around very like lightly and take it in. Again, you're not supposed to drive on it. Like, I didn't even like that I was revving it initially, but it sounded like it was gonna die. I don't know what that was. It could have been because I opened up the crankcase like oil thing, maybe. I've never had that before. I mean, I pulled that thing out and topped. Ooh, chargers! I pulled it out and topped it up multiple times. I've never had an issue. So who knows? But yeah, we're gonna pull it in right now and get an oil change, guys. And just like that, it is currently 11:03. We have completed the oil change. I was actually inside. It only took like 20 minutes. I was actually inside shooting shit with the guys over a couple chargers they have right behind me. It's the orange one. Yeah, they want 54,000 for that. Anyway, so oil change is done. The car took about 4.2 quarts. I'd estimate it to be about 4.2 quarts, which is what it's supposed to take, which means that she is full. She doesn't need gas. I think I might dump the chem tool, actually. I think I might dump the rest of the chem tool inside of the gas tank. God, I am a Mopar guy. Now, what's funny was I was listening to the dealership, a side rant. Some guy brought his truck in because the power lift gate wasn't working and it wouldn't close. And you had to like force slam the trunk to close, and it still said the trunk door is open. That's stuff that I think you'd only have issues with a Jeep, Dodge, maybe even Ford. Where you're gonna have random issues like that, like electrical issues. But anyway, where is it? This one right here. There she is. The Hemi right here is gorgeous, gorgeous, sexy beast. 54,000. And this one right here is 53,000. They're both fully loaded, adaptive cruise control, blind spot, lane departure, all the nice stuff. But goddamn, $54,000 for a Dodge. It's kind of a lot. Because I mean, what? Even Maximas and Avalons don't get up to that kind of money. And I get it, they're not performance cars. They don't have, you know, that much horsepower and stuff like that. But still, 54,000. Anyway, we're gonna go get some gas. I'm gonna make. So, I guess I'm gonna make this into a 2-part series. Just because I'm not gonna drive enough to put all the miles on the car in like a week or whatever it may be. So I'm gonna make this into a 2-part series. So I'll put out the first part, which is what you guys are seeing right now, and then I'll come back. Hopefully I come back at like 3,000 miles and say, hey guys, we burned a quart, no big deal, or less. As you guys saw, the oil did get darker, noticeably darker, just from me pulling the dipstick out, just running it for 10 minutes, 10 11 minutes in the crankcase, about half a can, so I'd say about 7 ounces. But we're gonna go fill up with some Mobil 1 fuel right there, and yeah, I'll see you guys in part 2. Thanks for checking in, tuning in, watching. Just hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're almost at 1,000. We are almost at 1,000 people. We're almost at 1,000.